Inside the Magic, covering Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Universal Studios, and more.
Hi, my name is Marley, and I am an attractions hostess at the Haunted Mansion. I've been coming to the Disney parks since I was very little. My parents met while they were working in guest relations together as tour guides, and my aunt also worked here at the Haunted Mansion back in the 90s. So I grew up coming to the parks a lot, and as soon as I turned 18, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I put an application for attractions. The overall history of Disneyland Park has always drawn me towards wanting to be part of it. The history of the Haunted Mansion, the history of the parks altogether, and how much change that Disneyland has undergone ever since its opening in 1955.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
So the very first concept of the Haunted Mansion appeared way back before Disneyland as itself was a full concept. Way back when Walt Disney wanted a Mickey Mouse Park in the Burbank Studios area, he had a haunted house concept idea that Harper Goff had shown him of a little church, a graveyard, and a house on a hill. The Haunted Mansion originally started off as being a walking attraction that would be led by a maid or butler through a haunted house. Eventually, when the 1964 World's Fair came along, Imagineers learned more about the Omnimover ride system. Basically, think of it as a bicycle chain, that the vehicles are attached to the bicycle chain and it's constantly moving all together, all at the same time. And it was much more efficient than a walking attraction, so they decided to include that into the house.
We're going to bring ghosts from all over the world, and we're making it very attractive to them, hoping, they'll want to come and stay at Disneyland.
Unfortunately, in 1966, Walt had passed, and the Haunted Mansion became the very first attraction that Imagineers had to figure out completely on their own. During the development after this period, there were two teams per se. There was the Claude Coates side and there was the Mark Davis side. Claude Coates wanted the Haunted Mansion to be extremely terrifying and the scariest of its kind, while Mark Davis wanted it to be more family-friendly and welcoming for everyone. So they kind of split it in half. Once it was decided what the show would finally be, the Haunted Mansion finally opened its doors on August 9th of 1969.
Step lively, please. Your holiday tour is about to begin right this way. All the way forward, please.
There are three acts of the Haunted Mansion. The first is Claude Coates. It is a bit more eerie, a little bit more scary, and you're not quite sure what's happening, but you're going with it. The second act is Madame Leota in the seance room. Up until you get to the seance room, you only see glimpses of what could possibly be spirits, but you don't see them at all until you meet Madame Leota. Then from that point on, it's all Mark Davis, where you see our happy and friendly ghosts, and they're having a party and having a great time. A swinging wake. Experiencing the Haunted Mansion is unique because for every single guest, whether it's their first time or 999th time, they experience the attraction slightly different every single time. Working at the Haunted Mansion differs from other attractions because there's a different expectation of a certain energy, a certain feeling when you come to the Haunted Mansion that guests expect. The Haunted Mansion has the privilege of having an immense amount of show that we can work with every single day, and even if it's just throwing the word dead space into a spiel somewhere, it's those little moments that make guests excited to be there and feel part of the show. The cast member role for maids and butlers at the Haunted Mansion is to be emotionless and steady. However, we are still greeting guests into our house. We are still greeting them for our hosts, so we should be pleasant, even though it is a misconception that we can't smile. My favorite element about the Haunted Mansion is the two griffins at the load area. A lot of guests end up missing the griffins because during classic Haunted Mansion, it's very dark at the load area. Most people don't end up seeing them. However, during Haunted Mansion Holiday, it is very bright, very beautiful, and they have a few decorations on them, so it's easier to spot them once you're in your buggy and you're heading into the house. Haunted Mansion Holiday is a layover that we have during Halloween and Christmas time. Jack Skellington, Sally, and a few other Halloween Town residents come and take over the mansion. However, because Jack only knows Halloween time but still has an interest in Christmas time, he isn't the best at decorating for Christmas time. For instance, when you come in the corridor of doors, instead of seeing a classic wreath on the doors or on the walls, you see a man-eating wreath, and he's terrorizing the guests as they come through. And then once guests enter the attic, they're greeted with a plethora of presents and gifts all over, only to discover that the naughty and nice list is being eaten by a giant snake. My personal favorite is classic Haunted Mansion because there is already so much history, but every single time there's little renovations or little touches added here or there, it still stays oddly lovable in a spooky kind of way.
Watch your step up to 3 bodies per buggy.
One of my favorite things about working with the Haunted Mansion is introducing our guests to what the Haunted Mansion is and explaining in further detail what the story is of the house. And more often than not, guests are extremely interested and want to learn more, and they continue to come back time after time to experience this classic attraction. On occasion, I do have guests come back looking and asking for me personally, because the last time that they visited, they liked the interaction that we had. In fact, just last week I had a couple girls came by and they remembered me from almost 3 years ago during Haunted Mansion Holiday, where I had explained a little bit more about Haunted Mansion Holiday, and I made a little bit of magic for them, and I walked them straight up to the house myself. And then they came back this year, just about a week ago, still remembering me, still asking for me, and still having the picture that they took with me all those years ago.